If you've been holding XRP for several years, you've probably asked yourself this question more than once. Why has XRP been stuck for so long? It's a fair question because over the years, we've seen Ripple announce major partnerships. We've watched the XRP ledger continue to evolve. More financial institutions have started exploring blockchain technology, and regulators around the world have made progress toward clearer crypto rules. Yet despite all of that, many investors look at the price chart and feel like XRP has barely moved compared to the expectations that have been building for years. So what's really going on? Is the market ignoring XRP? Is something holding it back? Or have investors been looking at the wrong signals all along? The truth is, one of the biggest misconceptions in the XRP community is the belief that good news should automatically lead to a higher price. Every time Ripple announces a new partnership, people expect a breakout. When there's positive regulatory news, many expect the market to react immediately. And when another institution shows interest in blockchain technology, social media quickly fills with predictions that XRP is about to explode. But markets don't work that way. A partnership doesn't automatically create buying pressure. A headline doesn't automatically increase demand. And even groundbreaking technology doesn't guarantee an immediate rise in price. That's because markets don't reward potential. They reward actual economic activity. Think about it like this. Imagine a brand new international airport is built in your city. The runways are complete. The terminals are modern. Everything is ready for millions of passengers. But if only a handful of flights use that airport each day, the infrastructure alone doesn't create massive economic activity. The airport has potential, but it hasn't reached full utilization yet. The same principle applies to financial networks like the XRP ledger. Building the infrastructure is only the beginning. The real question isn't whether the technology works. The real question is, how much real-world demand is that technology creating today? That's where many investors unknowingly confuse progress with price movement. They're not always the same thing. In the next part, we'll look at the biggest reason XRP has remained stuck for years, and why many investors are watching the wrong metrics when trying to predict its next major move. So if partnerships, regulatory progress, and new technology aren't enough by themselves, what has actually been keeping XRP stuck all these years? The answer comes down to one simple word: do what? Demand. Well, not attention, not headlines, not social media excitement. Real demand. That's the difference many investors overlook. Let's imagine two different scenarios. In the first scenario, a global bank announces it's testing blockchain technology. The news spreads everywhere. XRP trends on social media, and thousands of investors expect the price to surge. But here's the important question. Is that bank actually buying and using XRP? If the answer is no, then the announcement may have very little impact on XRP's long-term value. Now consider a different scenario. Instead of simply testing the technology, that same institution begins using XRP to settle large cross-border transactions every single day. Every payment requires liquidity, and XRP becomes part of the transaction process. Now we're talking about something completely different. That's not just adoption. That's real utility creating real demand. This is where many people confuse Ripple's success with XRP's success. Ripple can sign new customers. The XRP ledger can attract new developers. More tokenized assets can be launched. All of these are positive developments, but none of them automatically mean that demand for XRP itself has increased. The market eventually asks one question: does this activity require XRP, or can it happen without it? That's the question professional investors try to answer before they expect a major price move. Another reason XRP has appeared stuck is that financial infrastructure doesn't change overnight. Banks don't replace payment systems in a few weeks. Governments don't rewrite regulations overnight. Central banks don't adopt new settlement technologies with the flip of a switch. Everything moves in stages. First comes testing, then pilot programs, then regulatory approval, then limited adoption, and only after years of successful implementation does large-scale usage begin. That process can feel painfully slow for investors who watch the price every day. But it's how nearly every major financial innovation has been introduced throughout history. So maybe XRP hasn't been stuck because nothing has been happening. Maybe it's because many of the most important developments have been taking place behind the scenes, long before they become visible in the price chart. After all these years, could XRP finally break out? The answer is yes, but not for the reasons most people think. It won't happen because of one partnership. It won't happen because of one bullish headline. And it probably won't happen overnight because of a single regulatory decision. Major financial markets don't change that way. What could change everything is when multiple pieces of the puzzle begin working together. Imagine building a bridge. Finishing one side doesn't allow traffic to cross. The bridge only becomes useful when both ends are connected. The same idea applies to XRP. As regulations become clearer, institutions gain confidence. As more payment providers and financial companies connect to the network, liquidity grows. And as real transaction volume increases, demand for XRP has the potential to grow alongside it. That's a very different story than simply reacting to another news headline. This is why experienced investors often focus less on daily price swings and more on long-term adoption trends. They ask questions like, is real utility increasing? Are more financial institutions solving real problems with this technology? Is demand becoming sustainable rather than speculative? Those are the questions that matter. The truth is, no one can tell you exactly when XRP will make its next major move. Anyone who claims to know the exact timing is making a prediction, not stating a fact. But history shows that markets eventually recognize assets that create genuine value. So perhaps the better question isn't, why has XRP been stuck for years? Maybe it's this: has XRP been standing still? Or has it been quietly building the foundation for something much bigger? Only time will answer that question. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more fact-based XRP analysis without the hype, subscribe to OG John XRP Insights, where we explain what everyone else gets wrong about XRP.